Hey everyone, it's Dorcas and welcome back to my channel. In my planner lineup video for 2026, I'd mentioned that I am going to be keeping a reading journal, and in that video I kind of did a really brief look, but in this video I want to focus just on that reading journal, how I've set it up, in case you are looking to keep track of the books that you read this year. Though this one is set up um, to use this year, it's not just focused on 2026. As much as I would love to read, say, 100 books in a year, that's definitely not me. So this one is set up a little differently. I'll tell you, you know, who I was inspired by. I mean, I straight up just took the layouts that she uses in her reading journal. So to start, I will say that I initially started this layout of a reading journal for, I think, the beginning of 2024. And initially, I went with this Archer and Olive B5 notebook. Um, it has, the thicker paper. It is dot grid. Um, and I got pretty far along, but I don't even know if the new year had started when I just kind of abandoned the mission. I got overwhelmed. The size was just a little too big. And so I was just thinking of reviving this, like finishing it out and actually using it in 2026. But then I decided that one, the it's just way too much space. It's way too much space. It was feeling daunting to fill up this entire page for just one book. I'll give you a little look at how I was going to set it up. So I was going to have an image of the book cover and then some details, which I'll get into later. And then this was going to be recap, any quotes, just anything that I wanted to capture about the book. Um, so I just a couple of days ago, I probably a couple of days before the new year actually started, um, I decided to downsize, and instead I went with this B6 Sterling ink plain notebook. Now this one is gridded paper, so graph paper. It has the Tomoe River paper. It's very thin. This one, obviously, it's much thicker. I forgot the GSM stats, but this cover, I know it's sold out, but I will link to other comparable B5 notebooks from Archer and Olive. But this paper is much thicker. And so it was going to be great for painting, which is what I wanted to do for some of the pages, just do like gouache painting. And I know this was going to be able to handle it just fine. But then I was thinking if I wanted to use fountain pens to write out my thoughts or opinions, ratings, all of that about the book I just read, I don't know that this was going to be as pleasant of an experience as the paper that I was already used to using for my journaling and what have you. So I was very happy that I didn't have to buy a whole new notebook. I was able to shop my stash for this entire setup. So why don't we get into it? So this is, I want to say, 260 page B6 notebook. There's also a 520, but I went with this one. Again, I'm not going to need a ton of pages. This is one that I've had for a couple years now. I bought, I want to say, the Black Friday or maybe 4th of July sale 2024, and I just had it all this time as part of my notebook stash for moments like these, right? So that's why we hoard, because just in case we might need something in the future, we are covered. So in the front, I just have this in a Midori clear cover, which I was also very close to buying a new one until I found one in a notebook I was no longer using. And in here, I have this very like witchy, cozy vibes reading. Let me see. Art print by Marigona Suli, and I will link to her shop, but I absolutely adore. I wish I could live in this space, but I thought it was very fitting. One, because they're reading, and two, I mean, it's kind of a snowy season, but I don't care. I'll use it year round. But it also, I felt, went great with the mauve cover. So that's the cover. And then inside is more are more art prints from the same artist. So definitely a lot of reading themes here. I have some stickers from Planner Monkey Co. This is from Paper Echoes. I've had this one for a long time. These two just came in when I made my Black Friday order, and I'd already decorated the interior cover of my 2026 planners, but I thought it went just great here. These are from the Coffee Monsters Co., a little bit of washi from Every Minute a Story, and this is also from Planner Monkey Co. So I thought this, again, is very, I love the theme, I love the colors. That said, I painted my kind of opener spread before I had done all of this selecting and decorating. So I might have gone with a different color scheme, but I still love how my cover spread turned out. So this is my reading journal. I painted this with gouache, and it took much longer than a different page took, just because I haven't painted in gouache in so long. And so this is the second thing that I painted in gouache after this other page I will show you soon. And the paints were old, and I was just trying to like get a handle on the technique again. But I absolutely love how this folk art inspired kind of opening spread turned out. I think it's beautiful. It makes me happy. It makes me want to get in here and start adding information to this notebook. And that was the point of this whole thing, is to create a notebook that will make me want to come in there. And so, to show you very quickly the book that I use to pull these motifs from, um, it is, it's called Imagine a Forest by Dinara Mirtalipova. And again, this is another book I've had for years and years and years. And it's about folk art and designs, inspirations. It has, you know, how to draw and paint different flowers. It has um, homes and fairy tales and castles and people and animals, and just how to make it have that folk art vibe quality. So I was like really into this book, what, like 5 years ago or so. Um, and so my sketchbook is kind of filled with lots of pieces from this book. And so when I wanted to go back into gouache, that's immediately the book that I went for and the vibe that I was going for here. So yeah, so I absolutely love how this turned out. So at the beginning, I have a spread for index pages, and I'm not sure if I'm going to need this many pages, because this isn't going to have the list of all of the books that I've read in this book or have captured in this book. This is going to have more of the major pages. I'll show you some of those coming up, but this notebook is not one of the numbered versions, because I don't think those were either available. They might have been out of stock, or they might not have been on sale. So I'm gonna have to go through and number the pages as I go. So this is just gonna have the major sections or collections, trackers, things of that nature. And the reason why the books are not gonna go on this page, this index page, is because they're gonna go here. So this one is just gonna be for the books that I've read. And so I'll put the page number here, as well as the name of the book and the author. I don't know, maybe I'll put the dates that I read them. Not quite sure, but this is just going to be for the actual books. And so that's why I have 3 pages for that. I haven't counted how many lines, but in this reading tracker, I have space for 156 books. So this reading tracker is going to mark how many books I'm reading throughout the year or in a month. So for example, for 2026, I have, a box for each day of each month of the year. So it just has the first letter of the month all the way across. And I'm going to select a color to symbolize January reads. So January, say, let's go with pink or gray. And so if I read 3 books in January, I would color the first 3 boxes up here in that color, in gray. And then once I move on to February, I'll choose a different color. And so then I'll be able to see, well, during what month did I read the most books? Maybe I'll find that in the winter I'm reading more, or maybe, and in the summer I'm reading less, maybe because I'm out and about. Um, because I'm not sticking or committing myself to just doing this in 2026, I also have 2027, 2028, 2029 in case I should need extra time to get through the 156 books. I might even need 2030, who knows? Um, so yeah. So, and then, maybe even if I only get, halfway through by the end of 2029, I can just set up another book if I want to at that point. So here I have book reviews. And actually, before I go further, I do want to give credit where credit is due. And I should have definitely mentioned this in the beginning, but all of these layouts, I found them on a YouTube channel, again, back in like end of 2023, beginning of 2024. And this woman had then mentioned the person that she was inspired by. And so to go back to the firsthand source, I want to say this is all from Books Ergo Sum is her Instagram um, her Instagram handle, and I am going to really quickly find what her actual name is. So her name is Amanda. Amanda. Um, this is exactly how she sections off her journal, and I thought it was brilliant because instead of making it by year, I will go over here. She has a section by 10 books at a time. Um, and I thought that that was a lot more feasible than committing myself to reading, maybe these 10 books happen just in 2026, and then books 11 through 20 happen in 2027. But it'll just kind of go along with time. And once I'm done with the book, I will just go to a new book instead of committing it to just one time frame or one year. And then once that year is over, there will probably be a lot of pages left. And I could start a new year halfway through a notebook, but we all know we all feel like we need a fresh start. So I would probably start a new notebook, just like I did with this one, right? I had my Archer and Olive one, and it didn't work out for this purpose. And I didn't feel that I could restart it, 20 pages in. Even though I had, done these setups, I felt fine moving on because I really only used up maybe like maybe 10 or 12 pages at max. So I can still use this for some other purpose. I just felt like I needed a fresh start. So to go back to this book reviews page, I'm going to print out, and I put these as, they're kind of barely hanging on there, but I just put these in as examples so that you can picture the vision, guys. So I'm going to be printing these out in my mini Kodak photo printer, and I can do a collage, so I can fit 4 in one kind of 2x3 sheet roughly. And then I'm using my Hobonichi stencil back here, and I'm using the star rating stencil. And I will mark down, what did I rate each book. So at the end of it all, I'll be able to get a nice overview of all the books that I read, how I felt about them, um, and I've given myself quite a bit of space for that type of spread. Um, I haven't done the stars in all of the other pages, but again, clearly I have lots of time to just get through these first 2 pages. And I added a little bit of Coffee Monsters Co. stickers. These were all stamps. They were clear stamps from, I think I got them on Amazon, these letter stamps. Yeah, I got them off of Amazon, and then there's another numbers one that I also got off of Amazon, and I will link to those as well in the description below. So this is where I'm gonna, have all of my cute little book covers. I know some people also like to draw out a kind of like a bookshelf and then just color in all of the different books that they've read, or how many books they read. They'll write the name on the spine, and I have done that in past um, bullet journal spreads, but I felt like this was a little simpler than drawing in a bookcase. Here I have recommendations, and these are all titles that I have collected over the years. I've probably been dragging this list around for the past two years, 2 or 3 years. And so I only have a few more slots, but I think I can add a couple more at the very bottom here. And then obviously as I go reading them, I will check them off or add any others that are recommended to me. And I also used the stencil, and this one I used the little check boxes here on the side. Let me see if you can see it. There, those. So that is that. This is also from Coffee Monsters Co. Clear, clear rubber stamps. And then we come to our opener for the first 10 books. And so each, grouping of 10 will have this same spread. So I have my table of contents with 1 through 10. I will put in the title, the author, and the dates that I've read them. And so as I go reading, I will go filling out this information. And then after this page is where where those reviews are going to be. This is an example of what that review page will look like. So I have my number. Let me see if I can pull one as an example. Here. So I will attach the book cover right here. So I'll have the title, the author, the genre, the dates that I read them, how many pages are in the book, and then the format. So is it, an actual like a hardcover, paperback that I borrow from the library? Is it an audio book? I will write that here. And at the very bottom, well, obviously then I'll write my thoughts, share, like write in any quotes, memorable moments, just overall how I feel, and I will use fountain pen for this part. And then at the very bottom are the 5 stars for the rating. And then we get to the second book, I will have the cover there, and so on and so forth. All of the page reviews, all of the book review pages will look like this. Okay, so we have 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then we get to our stats page again, and every single page is taken from Books Ergo. I just love the way she just creates her reading journal, and I didn't feel like, just starting from scratch. I wanted to just jump right in. So the way that, there was a way that she did it when I first laid out the first reading journal, and now she has, it's been a couple years now, so she's changed it a little bit, but it's roughly this. This is the part that has changed a little bit for her. Whereas before she had the top three books from this 1 through 10 batch. And now she does top reads. So if it's, if she rated 6 books as 5 stars, she would have, the 6 covers. Let's see. And I'll show you what's in the back here in a second. She'll have the, maybe 3 covers up there, and then a little blurb underneath the cover about why she loved it so much. And then maybe she has another 6 down here. If it's just 3, the blurb can be longer. Maybe there's 3 up top, 2 at the bottom. So I have left it, I haven't marked out where those cover pictures are gonna go like I've done here. So if you look a little closer, I've made little notches so that I can help position my cover. So it's very, very light and in pencil. But for this one, I am going to first see how those first 10 go, and then I'll figure out, okay, well, how do I want to collage or lay out this top reads page so it makes sense for the number of books that I want to include. Here, she has a pie chart, and I will link to all of her handle. If I am able to, maybe I'll insert a little picture from her Instagram to show you what I'm talking about for this stats page. But she has a pie chart, and she has different moods that are color coded. So, is it, I don't know, romantic or inspirational, or I forgot, like, reflective, or, different moods depending on what, I'm pulling from the books that are part of that batch. And then she'll have a pie chart, like maybe most of the books were romantic. Maybe a lot of them were, I don't know, I can also do it by category of, um, how it made me feel. Did it make me depressed? Was it like a tearjerker? So that's what this will be, a pie chart based on the different moods. This little bar will also signify, authors that are new to me. So authors I am reading for the very first time versus authors that I have read before. And so she has it, maybe the majority of those 10 books were authors that are brand new, never read before. And so it'll be 2 sections, and that line will be determined by the books in that first, in those 10 reads. Down here is for genres and ratings. So is it horror? Is it romance? Is it nonfiction? Is it fiction? Is it sci-fi? So she has, again, color coded for each of the different genres, and then she marks down like how many within that genre she has read. Whereas down here it's by star rating. So how many from, sci-fi books were 2 stars? So maybe there's, it goes up to 2 because it's 2 2-star ratings. So this will make more sense when it's complete, and when you look at Books Ergo Instagram page, it's all laid out. And then here, there's always a little bit of deco. So I've just left it open for now, just in case I need more space for whatever reason. Let me take these out. And I've only gotten up to here. Obviously here then would be the table of contents. And then, books 11 through 20, and then we'll continue on and on. And we have a lot of pages, so I'm pretty sure we'll get through 156 or whatever I had listed over there in this book, and then some. And if I run out of space, say I run out of like the recommendations, I might run out of recommendations spaces, so I will have to just do a new one of those in a previous one, or maybe borrow from this side, and do 2 recommendations. So we'll see what happens. But for now, that's what we got. And then in the end, this was a little test page to make sure that my archival ink was not going to bleed on through the other side, and it was totally fine. Here I have a few little tools that I want to keep on hand. So first, blotting paper. Since I'm going to be using a fountain pen, I can, write my thoughts about the book, and then just put this in to absorb any ink that's still wet so it doesn't kind of get on the other side of the page. I have some more Marigo Nasuli art prints and this bookmark, so I can either put it wherever I am in the book or just put it in the actual book that I'm reading. There's this other art print. I just love her work so much. Some stickers. My Hobonichi stencil, super useful. I like never use this thing. I've had this since, I don't know, my first Hobonichi Cousin of Vec in 2022 and never use it, but these little star ratings are perfect. I have some book washi tape. So these are Coffee Monsters Co. I also have a spooky bookshelf. This is from a series of bookshelves, so I think this is just classics, I want to say. This is spring bookshelf. I have a spooky one, but obviously I'm not going to need that for a while. This is Every Minute a Story down here, this bookshop. These two are from Once More with Love, Every Minute a Story, and then Coffee Monsters Co. So just if I want to, I don't know, attach things or just put in a little bit of flair, I have these on hand, and it's just a little bit so it doesn't bulk it up too much. Again, this is a Midori plastic cover, but I added my own clear adhesive pockets so that I can hold those things, and it fits perfectly in the width of this, what do you call it, flap? Flap. There's a pen loop here, but I never use the pen loops for the Midori covers. So these will live in here. And this also lives in here. And then another thing that I use these pockets for is to house any of the book covers that I want to use down the line. This is, here, printed out these as an example. So this is how it comes out of the Kodak Retro 2 like 4-pass printer, which of course I will link below as well. But that's what I use to print out all my pictures in my planners, my journals, what have you. So this is with the collage for 2. And then with the 4, I just kind of print them in this direction. So I can fit 4 book covers in one sheet. And so I will just store these in here until I've finished the book and can attach them to the appropriate page. So those stay right there, so I don't lose them. And then back here is just kind of the stencil that I used to create the book, the spread opener. So for books 1 through 10, I already have books 11 through 20, 21 to 30, and it just helps me make sure that my lettering is evenly spaced and neat. And so when I go and paint, let me go back to that page, I can just leave it as negative space. So I just paint around it. So here's a little closer look of this one. So if you stick around to the end of this video, I have a time lapse of me painting this page just so you can see the process behind it. And yeah, so I am very happy with how this turned out. It only took me a few days to get it all ready. I thought that it was going to take me much longer, because I feel like for the B5, it did take me quite a while, but again, it's a much larger page to work with. And I don't know, it's just this paper is so lovely, and I'm, looking forward to using my fountain pens in this paper. I was also very concerned about painting on this paper because it's so light. I mean, it's so thin. Um, I wasn't quite sure how it would handle gouache, and it handled it just great. It handled it perfectly well. It didn't crinkle much. If you can see here, maybe there's a little rippling in the other side, but it really does not bother me at all. I thought it was going to be much worse. I thought maybe possibly it was going to kind of wet the paper too much and then, weaken it or tear it. But I thought that I had to do a lot of layers on this on this one, again, because the paint was just not working with me. Whereas this one is a lighter layer. Um, so so yeah, I think it came out. I'm so happy with it. I think it looks so pretty. I can't wait to get in there. And so the reason why I decided to do a reading journal is because, well, one, I want to be inspired to read more than I have been in the last couple of years. Um, and then also when I do read, I find that I completely forget what it is that I read that year, like how I felt. There's some books that like sometimes make me wish that I was reading them in school or at a book club, because I want to talk about them with someone. I want to just dissect every piece of it. Uh, but then I'll move on to the next book, and then I'll completely forget just those raw emotions that I was feeling when I read that book, or that heartbreak when the book is over. And I feel like maybe I can capture some of those emotions and feelings in this book, and so then have it live on even after I moved on to the next book. So I was actually going through this list of book recommendations, because again, I've had this list for a long time. And I was kind of taking out the books that I already read, and I was like, oh my God, yeah, I remember I did read that book. Like, and I barely remember how I felt. I mean, it's just a very generic, like I liked it or I didn't like it, or I cried or didn't cry, but I don't remember the names of the characters. I don't remember which one was my favorite. I don't remember some of those quotes. And so this is also why I have my commonplace notebook, that I want to capture some of those quotes all together in one notebook. But under each book page, I will also add some of those in to try and jog my memory when I flip through in the future, and just remember what books I liked, um, especially with the top reads. I'll be able to quickly look through and then say a friend is looking for a book recommendation in a certain category, and if it's in a genre that I, know I've read, I can kind of flip through my stats page and offer some suggestions. So that's pretty much the simple book reading journal setup. Again, completely taken. I can't even say inspired. It's straight up just copied from Books Ergo Sum. I just think this is going to work much better for me, and hopefully, like I said, inspire me to read more frequently um, in the upcoming months. So yeah, so that is my quick little video on this book. Let me know in the comments below if you have started a reading journal of your own. Like, how do you keep track of the books that you've read? I do have a Goodreads account, but I think I just put in the recommendations and I never go back in to check or rate the books that I've read. But I did look, like a lot of those recommendations are from um, just other YouTubers that focus on books and reading, and I will try and dig some of those uh, YouTube channels up in case you're also curious about what people are recommending, what people are enjoying. But that's typically how I find my recommendations is, I'll watch a couple videos and then look up each of those books and read the synopsis to see if it's something that's gonna jive with me. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you are having a wonderful start to the new year. Let me know what some of your goals are, either with reading or other endeavors, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!